अरे हमारी औलाद थी वो, हमारी दुनिया थी, हमारी जिंदगी थी वो।
The horrific explosion of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner in India, which claimed the lives of nearly 300 people, has become the deadliest aviation disaster in modern history. Screams calling for loved ones amid the ashes, crowds of people silently waiting to receive bodies. The whole of India is plunged into mourning. While the world is still in shock and searching for the cause, investigators have recently discovered shocking clues in the tragedy of Air India Flight 171. The things found in the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner have exposed the dark secrets that Boeing had hidden. No one expected the world's #1 aviation corporation to hide these things. The initial investigation was launched in a state of emergency, just hours after a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, flight number AI-171, crashed into a residential area in Ahmedabad. The Indian government issued an unprecedented order, a comprehensive, urgent inspection of the 34 Dreamliners in the country's fleet. Inside the wreckage of Air India 171, experts discovered unusual things buried under the rubble. First, they discovered a charred command transmission device, a technological ghost, and a haunting warning to Boeing. As the investigation team donned heavy protective suits and stepped into the ashes of Boeing 787 Flight AI-171, they weren't simply searching through a blackened wreck. They were hunting for traces of a mechanical crime. Amid twisted aluminum panels, melted cables, and a choking stench still hanging in the air, a bone-chilling detail emerged. A small device, yet vital to survival. The thrust signal converter. It serves as the nervous system linking the plane's brain to its jet engines. And now, it lay charred like coal, shattered exactly at the control circuit, the one place that should have been protected by the system's highest-grade insulation and fireproofing. What was terrifying wasn't just that it failed, but that it was never supposed to fail. This component was engineered to function even in catastrophic conditions. It is the last lifeline, the final safeguard that allows pilots to command the engines in critical moments. But now, it had silently melted away, as if someone had commanded it to shut down, right at the moment of truth. And then came the black box data, the final dagger to whatever trust remained. The signals sent to the two engines were not only delayed, they were bizarrely out of sync. While one engine received the thrust command, the other remained eerily silent. In just a few seconds, the Boeing 787 entered a state of complete imbalance, like an eagle with one wing torn off, unable to ascend, doomed to plummet straight down at deadly speed. Veteran aviation expert Arindam Majumdar was left speechless after reviewing the findings. If the command signals are misaligned, this is no longer just an accident. This is a design catastrophe. It might be a software failure or a systemic defect in the electronic materials. Whatever it is, it should never happen on a Boeing 787. Never.
Gliding down, which means there has been loss of thrust.
In addition, experts also discovered a terrifying truth. Both of the plane's engines had lost thrust simultaneously, a nightmare scenario that no pilot wants to face. The 200 million Boeing 787 Dreamliner, once hailed as the safest flying fortress on the planet, suddenly lost thrust in both engines, seconds after leaving the Ahmedabad runway, turning the flight into a nightmare with no way out. It was something that was almost impossible. And it happened. And the price was 290 lives. The plane only managed to climb 137 meters, a height that was not even as high as the top of a skyscraper, before plummeting to the ground. But in that moment of life and death, a security camera captured a small but chilling detail. A strange gray dot fell from the belly of the plane, just before the moment of disaster. It's rat. If you see it coming on within seconds of takeoff, it means the worst has happened. Total loss of power and thrust, says veteran aviation expert and former U.S. Navy pilot Steve Scheibner. The rat is only deployed when the aircraft is in a state of terminal decline. A high-pitched screech, something that doesn't belong on a Boeing, is heard as the plane takes off. It's the signature sound of the rat, the emergency wind turbine, spinning desperately to provide minimal power to the cockpit. No one wants to hear that sound, unless you are facing death. The horrifying coincidence became even clearer when the sole survivor, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, recounted that the cabin flashed and there was a loud noise. And then the plane plummeted as if it had no more resistance. He woke up, surrounded by the bodies of his fellow passengers, so panicked that he could only jump up and run away from the wreckage, blood, and smoking fuel. Everything happened so fast. When I woke up, I saw bodies all around me, and I was so scared. I stood up and ran. Ramesh recounted from his hospital bed. The rat was activated almost immediately after the plane left the ground, confirmed expert Sahil Bala. That suggests that both engines could have failed almost simultaneously, a scenario that could only have occurred due to a very serious system failure. And here is where the big question mark hangs over Boeing's head. How could a 787 Dreamliner, equipped with two highly advanced General Electric Jenks engines, with a backup system and a dense electronic protection layer, become completely paralyzed just seconds after takeoff? The answer may lie deep in the brain of the plane, in its software, in its fly-by-wire system, or in its materials. If exposed, it would not only shatter public confidence but also carry a huge liability that Boeing would find hard to deny. Not only that, what was even more frightening was when experts discovered that the Boeing 787 Dreamliner apparently never opened its flaps during takeoff. A seemingly impossible error on a state-of-the-art aircraft could now be the key to a tragedy that has claimed nearly 300 lives. American aviation expert Anthony Brickhouse pointed to the surveillance camera video